Hi guys, Robo46 here and welcome to round 2 of the Moto2 Robo's Racing League on MotoGP 15 on the Xbox One. This week we're racing at Le Mans. Let's see how the qualifying went. It was RMorland99 who was on pole with a 135.232, just under a tenth behind him was Dylan in second. A tenth behind was one racer in third. ML007 Heskey was fourth, 2 tenths behind. Myself and Brandy Scales done exactly the same times, and strangely enough we were on the same bike as well, the Pons HP bike. So yeah, 5th and 6th for us, 0.734 behind. I'm Cyborg 11 was 7th, 1.1 behind. GSXR Matt 24 was 8th, 1.8 behind, and Moorland 97 was 9th. 1.9 behind. Biker didn't do qualifying, he had connection issues but managed to connect for the race. Let's go over to the grid. I was a bit anxious about this race because I didn't really know what to expect because I was going a lot quicker in time trial, but because the game gave me a really shit setup, because my setups won't load for qualifying, I just had to make do with what I could, but I knew that I could go faster than what I did in qualifying, so I wasn't really too bothered about qualifying. But also, a lot of us saying that even in time trial we were crashing loads, not being able to do a lot of consistent laps together. But off the line, initial start was good, but then my bike bogged down, too much throttle, and I lost shitloads of drive. So 6th place at the moment, but I lose another 2 places and back down to 8th. So we tip into the first corner, make 2 places back up to 6th. Then a gaggle of Mark VDS riders ahead, loads of them. I'm still in 8th at this point. Someone did go wide, probably got a penalty for that, but back up to 6th. And there is the gaggle of Mark VDS riders, loads of them. Up to 5th momentarily. So we go up the little hill. Good drive out, back up to 5th. But unfortunately, I outbraked myself, go a bit wide. Try to cut it back, and I do, but I get a really shocking exit, spin up the rear, go on the grass a little bit, lost loads of drive, and then I was back down to 6th. Into the slippery corner, as I like to call it. Someone crashed there, that was Biker. In 5th at the moment, didn't get a good exit, and then back down to 7th. As we get ready to go into the flip-flop. Got to go careful into it, especially in the slipstream. Someone went really wide there. Back up to 5th place. 4 Mark VDS bikes ahead. They come to the final sector. So really close at the moment. I thought these guys were getting away a little bit towards the end of the first lap, but luckily managed to catch back up and right on their tails as we finish the first lap. And all was looking alright at the moment. Dylan in first place, set the fastest lap on the first race, obviously he would do being in the lead. And Moorland in 4th. And into the chicane. At this point, it could be anyone's. It's really good when it's real close racing and lots of people racing for the win as well. Up to 4th. You can tell that I'm the odd bike out in the leading pack as I go up to 3rd place. And then back down to 4th. And back up to 3rd. And out, in fact, up to 2nd as well. And then the Mark VDS boys beating me up even more, all trying to come back past. Someone crashed then, that was Dylan, the winner of the last race. Unfortunate crash for him in that slippy corner. It's so easy to go in a bit too hot and lose a friend, and that's exactly what he did. 3rd place at the moment. 4th, someone went really wide, I think that was Moorland, and he had a crash. That was our Moorland down. So it's myself, ML007 Heskey in 2nd place, and 1 racer leading the race at the moment. I'm in 2nd place now. ML comes back past. I get a better exit, still in 2nd place. I am Cyborg overtakes our Moorland. Biker has another crash. And that is the end of lap 2. 1 racer's in the lead. ML comes past in the slipstream. As we tip into the first corner, I take a tight line, back up to 2nd place, into the chicane, and Mill comes back past. I get a better drive out, and get a better drive than one racer as well. Momentarily going to the lead. It was like literally a split second. One racer goes wide and momentarily going to the lead again. I got on the curb and lose a bit of drive. Still in second place. And now back down to third as Emil comes back past. He goes quite wide. Try to capitalise on that with a good exit, but I go wide on the exit. So still in third place at the moment. We're only on lap 3. Brandy Scales a bit further back in fourth place, 2.2 behind. I'm still trying to attack Emil. Stay with him. Try and get back into second place. One racer. It's a tiny gap there, but it's not massive. Into the flip-flop again. Back up to second place on the exit. And then Emil comes back past. Back up to second momentarily. Crash for Moorland 97 in 9th place. Get a better exit out of that corner than Emil. Back up to second place into the final corner. As anyone's game would close right back on one racer again. End of lap 3. One racer is basically 4 tenths ahead. Emil comes back past in the slipstream again. I take a tight line again, go back into second place. He outbrakes me. I go a little bit deep. A crash for I Am Cyborg in 5th place. Moorland then overtaken I Am Cyborg as he had a crash. Emil going very wide. Still us 3. Still together. More or less anyway. Spinning up the red didn't give you the best of exits. I lose a bit of time at that corner. Moorland 97 has another crash in last place. Into slippy corner. One racer goes wide. Still holds the lead. I Am Cyborg has another crash in 7th place. Back in the flip-flop. These guys looking like they're starting to get away a bit. I'd made a bit of a mistake in there and compromised my exit. Almost half a second now. Brandy Scales still 2.3 behind in 4th place. Moorland 97 quit. And Bike has another crash. To the final corner again. So no one really getting away too much in this race at the moment. And scarily, I hadn't crashed yet, which, yeah, was very scary for me. And these guys definitely had a gap over me now. I went really deep into the chicane. I decided to brake a little bit later because I thought the previous lap I put the brakes on a bit too early, but put them on too late there and lost a load of time. A second now up to Emil, 1.9 back to Brandy Scales. Because of that mistake. So we're basically half race distance on lap 5. They were basically a second ahead of me. Still are a second ahead of me. 2 seconds back to Brandy Scales. So he was like slowly catching, but it's stabilised around the 2 second mark at the moment. As we get ready to go into the final sector. Get a better line through there that time. And the gap was down to 0.8, so I made up 2 tenths and put 2 tenths into Brandy Scales, so it's 2.2 back to him now. And we'll see what the gap is over the line as we come to finish the 5th lap. One racer sets the fastest lap of 1:35.232, which was, funnily enough, our Moorland 99's pole position lap. So it's basically 6 tenths up to Emil, so I closed up another 2 tenths. So I was slowly catching back up. Just decided to have like a lap of mistakes, but hopefully I was looking forward to catching back up to him. 0.6 still. 2.5 back to Brandy Scales, so that gap was going up nicely. Moorland had caught Brandy Scales and started battling with him for 4th place. As you can see in the bottom left hand corner, those two overtaken a couple of times. Still exactly the same time up to Emil 007 Heskey. 2.5 back to Moorland still. Brandy Scales overtaking him again. And them overtaken yet again. Emil was starting to close back in on one racer, and I was starting to close back in on both of them. Went a bit wide there, cost me a little bit of time. Still 2.5 back to Brandy Scales as they continue with their battle in 4th place. A crash for GSXR Matt in 9th place. I think he was the only speed up in this race. And that was the end of lap 6. Battle for 4th place still going on. 0.7 up to Emil. Didn't want to tell me what it was back to 4th place, but that was fine. A crash for Brandy Scales. Back down to 6th place for him. Idilla moves up to 5th. And of course our Moorland is in 4th. 2 ahead. Really close together now. 1.1 ahead of me. So they'd pulled away from me. Moorland had closed in on me by about half a second. So 2 seconds back to him now. It's only a few laps to go. What would happen at the front? Would I stay in 3rd place? Is 1.2, so the gap was going up. Is 1.9, so the gap was coming down to Moorland. Starting to drift away from these two into the clutches of our Moorland. Can still see him just ahead, but getting away. Emil goes into the lead. And then one racer takes it back. Still 1.9 back to our Moorland. Then as they flick left, a very rare crash for one racer in 2nd place. I overtake him and I move up to 2nd place. So Emil is now in the lead. I am 2nd. One racer 3rd. And I'm sure our Moorland right near him. Emil just set the fastest time of a 1:35.199. 1.2 ahead of me. I didn't know who was 3rd at this point. So we go into the chicane. But even more drama for one race as he crashes going into the chicane in 3rd place, which meant that our Moorland had moved up to 3rd. One racer back down to 4th. Me 1.3 behind Emil. Split still not telling me what it was back to 3rd place now. Could I catch Emil? Would our Moorland catch me? What was going to happen in the closing stages of the race? 1.4 up to Emil, still 1.9 back to our Moorland. So everyone was running out of time to catch each other. A little bit hard on the brakes into the flip-flop. 1.5 still up to Emil. 2 seconds now back to our Moorland. So at this point, it wasn't looking too bad. The gap behind was extending slightly, and the gap ahead had kind of stabilised. So just trying to keep a rhythm up. Another crash for Dylan in 5th place. The championship leader at this point, due to his win at the first round, was looking like he's going to be compromised. There's 1.1 up to Emil. So that gap had come down quite dramatically in the first sector. Another crash for one racer in 4th place. Into the chicane, same place he had his 2nd crash. 1.5 up to Emil now, and 1.2 now back to our Moorland. So that gap had come down dramatically back to 3rd place. And I was thinking, oh god, he's going to catch me. So I had to wait for the next split just to judge how quick he was going. It was 1.1, so it only come down another tenth. And I was thinking, well, if it comes down a tenth every sector, that's not going to be enough. So I just had to continue doing what I was doing. I had a quick glance behind me and saw him right there. And then I was thinking, shit. But I didn't panic. Just carried on going about my business as usual. Emil at this point was 1.8 ahead even. Moreland second behind now. So he definitely got the claws in. When the gap gets below a second, if you're catching someone, it pretty much just crumbles away. As we start the final lap of the Le Mans. I get a really bad exit at the last corner. You saw my rear wheels spinning at 1.9 up to a mil now, so almost 2 seconds. Wasn't telling me what it was back to Moreland, but Moreland just set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:34.999. Didn't get the best entries into the chicane. Got a really crap exit as well over the curb. Lost a load of drive. And he was half a second behind me now. You can see that arrow there just momentarily. He was catching me. So I had to see if I could put my pace up again. Another crash for GSX on my 9th. .1 up to Emil. Still half a second back to Moreland, so he didn't catch me at all in that sector. But Emil had pretty much gone away. Needed to get a good entry and a good exit out of these two corners, which I do. And the gap had actually come down slightly up to Emil. 1.7 now. Still half a second back to Moreland. I was thinking if he's going to do it, he's going to try and do it in the last sector, probably the last corner. To do what I could to stay ahead. And at the last corner, quick glance behind, and there we go across the line. And that was the end of the second race at Le Mans. It was Emil who took the lead, 1.7 ahead of myself in second. Moreland, he got his third place. He did have a 0.4 of a second penalty. So even if he had overtaken me on the last corner and I was right behind him, I still would have got second place. One racer, despite his quite a few crashes, he still ended up in fourth place. Dylan was fifth. He had quite a few crashes as well. Brandy Scales ended up in sixth. I Am Cybertron was seventh. Biker 7202 was eighth. GSXR Matt 24 was ninth. And Moreland 97, who quit during the race, ended up in 10th. So that was the end of the race. Let's have a look to see what that has done to the championship. Emil 007 Heskey moves ahead of Dylan into first place with 38 points. 2 points ahead of Dylan now, who's in second. One racer is in third place with 33 points. I move up to fourth with 29, just ahead of Moreland in fifth with 27. Brandy Scales is 6th with 20. N-Jerk, who didn't race, he goes down to 7th place with his 16 points. Biker is 8th with 16 points as well. GSXR Matt in 9th with 14 points. Moreland 97 in 10th with 12. And I Am Cyborg in 11th with his 9 points. So, what a great race that was to be part of. No one knew what to expect in that race, and we got drama and all sorts. Myself and Emil talked after the race with Dylan, and we were surprised that neither of us crashed, because during time trial we were crashing all over the place, but luckily managed to keep it together for the race. So yeah, that's how it is at the moment. The next race is at Mugello, and that will take place on Friday the 11th of March. So this Friday, so not long to wait for another race. Anyway guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave this video a like, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I shall see you guys in the next video. See you!